All right, let's just jump right in. We're living smack in the middle of the great AI explosion. Here in 2026, it kind of feels like we're all caught in this massive paradox, right? On one hand, you've got this incredible, world-changing power. But on the other, you've got these huge and sometimes, let's be honest, pretty scary risks popping up almost every single day.
And hey, these risks are not just some academic exercise. I mean, you just have to look at the news. You're seeing huge platforms like X staring down the barrel of a potential ban in an entire country because of AI tools being misused to create harmful deepfakes. This is it. This is the battle playing out right in front of us. Raw innovation slamming right into the wall of regulation.
But then you see the other side of the story. You see a headline like this one from MIT News talking about how AI could literally optimize our entire power grid. I mean, think about that. One of the biggest global challenges we face, AI holds the potential to make our energy cleaner, more reliable, more efficient. So you have this unbelievable promise living right next door to all that peril. And you know, this whole revolution isn't just happening in government buildings or university labs. It's happening to us. This comment from a Reddit user just nails it perfectly. For most people, AI is becoming this practical, everyday tool. We're actually willing to open our wallets for it, but only if it's not a toy. It has to save us real time, it has to deliver real value. The hype is finally starting to meet reality.
So, that leads us to the one big question we're going to tackle in this explainer. When you stir it all together, the scandals, the breakthroughs, the fact that your neighbor is using it to write emails, how ready are we really for what's coming? Are the guardrails we're building actually keeping up with the sheer speed of this thing?
Well, you know what? For the very first time, we actually have an answer. And it's a number. 67 out of 100. This is the world's first ever report card on AI readiness, and it comes from a brand new report by AIN. So what does that mean? It's not an A+, but it's not exactly an F either. It's complicated.
So what is this score? What is it actually measuring? It's called the ASGR, or the AI-GAN Systemic Governance Rating. And the most important thing to get about this is that it's not a popularity contest. It's not based on opinions or feelings. It's a benchmark that measures the actual, tangible, real-world infrastructure that's in place to manage AI.
And this, right here, perfectly captures the massive shift that's happening under our feet. We're moving out of an era where just having a pretty AI ethics policy document was enough to get a pat on the back. Now, it's all about having systems that actually work, systems that can be audited, and systems that make it crystal clear who is accountable when things go wrong. We're going from promises to proof.
Okay, so let's break that 67-point score down a little. Take a look at this. Some things are definitely trending up, right? Structural maturity, operational capability, that's good. It means companies are getting better at building the right stuff internally. But look at what's going down. Regulatory alignment is getting weaker. And get this, trust and risk signals are actually negative. That means we're actively losing public trust.
And this is where it gets really, really interesting. You've got this fundamental tension. On the one hand, inside companies, people are getting their act together. They're building things like AI inventories and audit trails. Awesome. But on the outside, the world is getting messier. The rules are becoming more fragmented between countries, not less. And that creates a ton of confusion and risk for everybody.
Which brings us to, honestly, the most important part of this whole discussion. If companies are building better tools, but the environment is getting more chaotic, where does the system actually break? Where does it fail? Well, it turns out it's not a failure of design. It's a failure under pressure.
And here it is. This might be the single most important sentence in the entire AI-GAN report. Let it sink in. AI governance does not fail at the level of design. It fails at the moment of decision. You can have the best, most beautiful policies in the world. You can have the most expensive software. But that's not where the test is. That's not where it matters.
The real failure happens in these moments, these predictable points of extreme stress, like when an AI causes a massive security breach and the clock is ticking, or when the auditors show up and you can't actually prove your controls are working, or worse, when an autonomous AI just goes off script. In those moments, a person has to make a very hard call, usually with very little time. That's the moment of decision.
And look at that. We're right back where we started. Those headlines about Grok AI and deepfakes, that's not just a communications problem for a company. For the actual human beings working there, that is a moment of decision. All of a sudden, the abstract idea of governance becomes painfully real, and accountability gets pinned to a specific person in a specific role. It gets personal.
Okay, so if the whole system fails at that human moment of decision, the next question is obvious, right? Who's the human? Who is actually on the hook when things go sideways? The spotlight is shifting away from blaming a faceless system and turning directly toward the people who are supposed to be in charge.
Yeah, accountability is not some fuzzy concept anymore. For the board of directors, it's about cold, hard, legal liability. For the CEO and the C-suite, it's about whether they can make the right call in the middle of chaos. For regulators, they don't care about your binder of policies anymore. They want to see the proof it works. And for the poor folks in risk and compliance, it all comes down to one question. Can you survive an audit?
Now, as you can probably guess, this level of readiness isn't the same everywhere. This chart tells a really clear story. You've got a pretty big gap between different industries. Finance is at the top of the class with a score of 69, but then you look down the list and see healthcare lagging way behind at 61. So why? What are the leaders doing right?
Well, the leaders, think finance, think energy, they share one big thing in common. They have been living in a world of constant audit pressure for years. They absolutely require operational reliability. It's not a choice. So they've already built up all this muscle for managing risk. For them, AI governance is just the next logical step on a foundation that was already rock solid.
But on the other side of that coin, you've got sectors like healthcare. And here, the problem is that the tech is moving at lightning speed. AI is being deployed everywhere, and it's happening way faster than the institution's ability to actually check the work and oversee it properly. The report calls this governance overload, and it's creating a massive, systemic risk gap.
Okay, so let's wrap this all up. What is the final signal? What's the one big takeaway from this whole deep dive into our global AI readiness? What does this all mean for the rest of this year and for the years to come?
Here it is. This is the new reality. The game has totally changed. No one is going to judge your AI program based on how nice your principles sound or how elegant your policy document is. From now on, you're going to be judged by three things, and three things only. Can it be audited? Can its actions be traced? And does it give a human meaningful control when it matters most?
At the end of the day, it all boils down to this. Talk is cheap. It's not about what organizations say they do anymore. It's about what their systems can prove they can do, especially when the pressure is on. And that leaves all of us with a really important question to think about. In this new world, where do you put your trust?